Hi everyone, so on this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the Festool Orbital Sander against the Dewalt Orbital Sander. Now, just so you know, the price difference between the two is quite significant. This is $100 and this is $600. I'm going to break down the differences between the two of these orbital sanders and why you would want to purchase the $100 one over the $600 one, or why you would want to purchase the $600 one over the $100 version. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around because we're going to do a deep dive into these sanders. Okay, let's talk about what comes with your Dewalt Orbital Sander. Now you get the orbital sander, you get the charger, the battery, the dust collector, and a nice little bag to carry everything in. So the Festool comes with the Festool Orbital Sander, the dust collecting bag, the charger, 2 batteries, the power cable and the power cable adapter, and the Festool case. All right, the first thing I want to share with you is the form factor. This is a little bit more elongated. It does have a protective guard that is included in this product. And you have a removable battery that is right here with Bluetooth that is built in. And this can also accept the Festool hose. And this just simply clicks in and this can attach, and this also accepts other Festool attachments. The form factor, I've used this for over a year now and it works great. We have adjustable speeds up to 6, and this is the Festool Orbital Sander, and this does accept Festool sanding pads. You have to use their brand in order to fit on this to get the right hole placement. So now let's take a look at the Dewalt version. So this is Dewalt's brushless orbital sander with a battery. It uses their standard 20-volt battery, slides right on right here, and it clicks in. It has your on-off button, and it actually goes up to number 7, where the Festool went up to number 6. Now, I have these Diablo pads, and this is your standard pad you can pick up anywhere. It has the right hole placement for that. And the attachment that this comes off, this is a really nice twist and lock. So you just slide it on and you twist it and it locks. I really like how easy this is. So this is the Dewalt, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do some tests with both of these, but I first wanted to show you the differences of the physical mechanics that are a little bit different. One thing that I did want to notice about this is there is no guard. There's no guard attachment for this. It's just, you can see, you can run up. If you're standing up an edge, this paper will hit, where if you're on the Festool, you see this guard, you're not gonna hit that. Now this can come off, so that's nice. But we'll get into more of those details, the pros and cons in a minute, but I just wanted to show you the pad fits a little bit better on this than the Dewalt version you can see here. But again, there is no attachment or safeguard for this one. All right, so let's move on to our testing and show you how they perform. All right, so the first test that I want to do with these is honestly just to turn them on. Now, we have our Dewalt, and I'm going to power this on, and it's going to be set to the highest setting, and then the Festool is going to be turned on, and it's set to the highest setting of 6, and this is 7. Now, when I do this, listen very carefully, okay? And then I'll talk about the subtleties and the differences. All right, so first we're going to do the Dewalt. Okay, now let's do the Festool. All right, I don't know if you could hear the difference. I definitely could. This one is probably 2 to 3 times louder than the Festool. So that would be, I would say, 1 strike against Dewalt and 1.4 the Festool. Now, the other thing that I noticed in powering these on, which I think is gonna be, you can't really see in the video, but really, when you turn this on, this really vibrates your hand. There's a lot of vibration going on with the motor, and you feel it, and it makes your fingertips kind of tingle. When I turn this on, there's barely any vibration in my fingertips at all. I can barely feel that. So that was the first difference that I've noticed so far in the $100 version Dewalt and the $600 Festool. So now let's move on to sanding. Now that we powered these on, I'm gonna sand one side with the Dewalt, and then we're gonna sand the other side with the Festool. We're using 120 grit for both pieces of sandpaper, and we're gonna do a close-up on this and show you if it sands better or worse than the other. All right, so this side was sanded by the Festool. It did a great job. It feels great, like I would expect. And this side was sanded by the Dewalt Orbital Sander. I would say the results feel exactly the same, sanding-wise. I don't think there's any difference. So after I finished sanding with both of these, I did notice that I felt this was a little bit more aggressive, if you will, than the Festool. The Festool seemed a little bit softer when I was sanding and moving around, where this one felt a lot more, I guess the best word, like I said, was aggressive, where this one felt a little bit more timid. And maybe that's just due to the form factor and its center mass is the way you hold it. The speed, I don't know if I noticed. Let's see if we notice the difference between 7 and 6 on the two, and we'll spin these up and see if I can tell if it's any faster or if it's basically the same speed. All right? All right, so what I would like to do is I would like to do a sound test up close so you can really hear this motor. All right, here's the Dewalt. Ready? All right, next, here's the Festool. All right, and I hope you could hear the difference. The biggest difference is the sound. You could hear that the Dewalt was much louder than the Festool. Also, the hand vibration on the Dewalt was much more significant. Now, when you sand, that's gonna be a little different than holding it in mid-air. Now, when I held this in mid-air, like this, there's a lot of vibration in my fingertips. When I held this one in mid-air, there's not as much vibration going on. Now, when I sand, that's gonna be a little different, and I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna put them on the lowest setting, and we're gonna sand this block. Okay, the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna set this down all the way to 1, and we're gonna sand it, and I'm gonna tell you how it feels in my hand. All right, that feels pretty good. You know, that's a 1. It's very interesting. It still felt pretty fast to me. Let's do a 1 on the Festool and see the difference. Okay, so right away, I can just tell you, going from a 6 to a 1, this was definitely felt slower. This still felt fast to me. Just to verify that, I'm gonna start on 7 and slowly dial it down to see if I can tell any movement. Okay, so, or dial from 1 and go up. Okay, there is some significance there. You do see it kind of, the motor slows down. It doesn't feel like it steps through 7 different steps. Let me move through this one, 1 through 6. All right, so I would feel like stepping through the different speeds on the Festool, the range feels much wider. So when you go from 1 to 6, it feels like 1 is really, really slow and 6 is fast. When you drop 1 through 7 on the Dewalt, it feels like it's really like you're going through maybe 7 to 3, maybe. You're not feeling as low as a drop as you do with the Festool. All right, so now let's talk about the other features that they offer, and then we'll talk about price. All right, so the final features I want to talk about these are compatibility with your current environment. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as you guys know, if you've been watching me a while, I love Dewalt tools. I have a lot of them. I have tons of these batteries everywhere, and I use them for everything. So if you're in the Dewalt ecosystem, this is a really like a no-brainer, $100, you got an orbital sander. It works really well with your current setup. I do like the twist and lock, how they engineered this. I think that's really easy and simple and fast. I'm sure you can put a hose attachment on this, and I haven't tried it yet, but it's your standard size, so I'm sure it'll work. But I do like the simplicity of that, and it works with my current Dewalt ecosystem. Now, as for the Festool, this has its own proprietary battery. They're quite expensive. However, it has Bluetooth built in. So what that means is this attachment right here, and I have my system back here, and let me grab it. The hose basically plugs into this, and I can just turn it on and off, and it automatically turns my vacuum on and off because I have the Bluetooth battery. That is a nice feature, is I can set this thing anywhere and then just power it on, and I know the suction's gonna happen. This does not have that feature, but really that's only important if you have the vacuum system with your Festool. If you don't have it, that doesn't really matter, okay? I do honestly prefer the twist and lock to the Dewalt versus Festool's design. Festool's design with this, it doesn't feel like it's that secure. For some reason, I take this on and off quite a bit, and it just feels like, it clips in, but it doesn't feel like it's snug, right? Where the Dewalt one, I know this is on. Like, you can feel it, it twists, it locks, I know it's there, it's not gonna come off. Where if I don't get this clipped in right, or something's offset, you can see here, oh, there's a little bit of wobbliness. The clip really isn't that strong. I don't like that. I do like the guard that they have on this. It just pops off, and this is what it looks like without it, and you can just simply pop this on. Again, the Festool does allow for other attachments, Festool attachments, where the Dewalt brushless version does not. There are no attachments for this that I'm aware of. This is all you get for $100. Now, the ergonomics of both of these, they feel pretty good in your hand. I think this one feels good in your hand holding. This one feels great, so I'm not really too concerned about their design. However, the biggest concern that I have with the Dewalt over the Festool is the motor's rough. You're gonna get a lot of fatigue using this for long periods of time, and I consider a long period of time if you're standing more than 10 minutes, okay? Now, this one, you're not gonna get the fatigue. This is smooth, it's like butter, okay? This is more like it's just rough, it's just rougher. And for the price, you know, I invested in the $600 version because I do a lot of sanding, and I hate sanding, and I hate the dust that it creates. So I invested in the vacuum for this because literally there's no dust when I sand, and I'm sanding for 30 minutes at a time, and I didn't want the fatigue, okay? This heavy-wise, they're about the same weight. This is a little heavier, but this thing, it vibrates a lot, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of fatigue using this. However, if you're looking for an orbital sander and you're just getting started in woodworking, honestly, buy this one. I have the corded version of this. They didn't have this when I first got into woodworking. I would have bought this because you don't want cords. Cords are a pain in the butt when you're in a workshop. You need to move around, get under things. This is really nice to do that. I think for $100, this is a great buy, a great thing you can invest in starting out your woodworking. You only really need to get the Festool and spend the $600 and the additional $600 to get the vac if you're in production. If you're in your shop every day or every other day and you're doing production work. If you're sanding occasionally, spend $100 on this. Don't spend the $600 on the Festool. Buy some other tools. that you'll use for your shop. Start building up your supply. So my recommendation would be is if you're getting started in woodworking and you want to buy an orbital sander, invest $100 up front. This is a great buy. You only buy the Festool when you are really needing to be in your shop for long periods of time, where fatigue is a problem, where you really honestly just are producing a lot of stuff and you understand the benefits of a Festool over a Dewalt, okay? And I'm not trying to buy or sell. No one's paying me for this. This is not a sponsored video. This is just my honest opinion to really help you, because when I first started out woodworking, I thought I needed the best and the biggest and the most expensive tool to make really great products. And the truth is, you don't. The thing you do need is to buy the right tool for the right reasons. And if you're getting started, this is the reason that you should buy this over this, because you're just getting started. Save your money, buy other tools. You'll be much happier and be able to build better and more things. As you start to scale and you start to use those tools more often, invest in the Festool. That's what I did. It took me 5 years of woodworking to actually buy this piece of equipment. And this is one of my favorite things that I've purchased. And I would spend more money on this because it's that good. I can't say enough about how much I love this Festool product. And I recommend, if you're serious about getting into woodworking and you want to turn this into a business and you are going to be out doing this a lot, buy the Festool. It's an investment that you won't regret. But if you're doing this as a hobby, go with Dewalt. Well, I hope you liked this review. If you did, smash that thumbs up button. And also, if you have any comments or questions or things that I didn't answer about these two products, please post them in the comments below. I read everything and I'm here to help you guys out so you can have a really awesome woodworking hobby and business. All right, guys, till next time, I'll see you later.